welcome to a special edition of Business Morning. We're coming to you live from Asaba, the Delta State capital. It is the official rollout of the 2 billion naira Central Bank of Nigeria's micro, small and medium enterprises for Delta State. Now, the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, is expected to declare the event open. Now, this is one of the ways the federal government plans to empower small and medium-scale businesses in Delta State. Now, remember the Delta Beyond Oil slogan of the state government. Now, this is an example of what the Delta State government is doing to move the economy of the state far beyond the production of crude oil. As you all know, the dwindling prices of oil in the global markets has been affecting economies and, of course, creating concerns for us here in Nigeria. And a bill has been enacted to promote lending to small and medium enterprises in Delta State. Now, this is the crux of our conversation here on the program. We will be joined by officials of the state government on the show, also from the central bank, and some entrepreneurs who have benefited from the scheme here in Delta State. In the meantime, the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has told Nigerians that the federal government is proposing to the National Assembly $73 oil benchmark for the 2015 budget instead of the initial $78. In other words, we must be prepared to make sacrifices where necessary. Now, no thanks to the dwindling prices of crude oil in the international market, this move is described as a multi-pronged strategic response to mitigate the adverse effects of the decline in global oil prices. It's also meant to protect growth in the economy, reassure investors, and keep the economy on a stable course through the crisis. Also, this crisis has led to a significant drop in oil revenues for Nigeria and other oil-producing countries since June. Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala also noted that the federal government has no intention to print more naira to fund projects as revenues decline on falling oil prices. According to Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, printing money without adequate revenue support will lead to serious consequences for the country. She cited examples of Germany in the early parts of the century and more recently Argentina and Zimbabwe. She explained that the best way to control inflation as much as possible is to expand the economic base of the country, strengthen the sectors that drive growth in the country, and build critical infrastructure as well as create more jobs. We will be following this developing story for you here on the show, and of course keep it posted and any updates as we get them. We'll go on a break now, and when we return, we will begin a conversation here on the special edition of Business Morning from Asaba, Delta State, where the state government is rolling out the first phase of the 2 billion naira micro, small and medium enterprises for the state. It's going to come in tranches. We're going to have the 500 million naira being launched today and to be distributed to entrepreneurs here in the States. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching Business Morning. We're coming to you live from Asaba, the Delta State capital, where the state government is rolling out its first phase of the 2 billion naira micro, small and medium enterprises for entrepreneurs here in the state. And we're now being joined by the Honorable Commissioner in charge of poverty alleviation. She is also a woman. She is also the Executive Secretary of the Delta State Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency here in the state, Dr. Antonia Ashidu. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
We also have with us here one of the beneficiaries and, of course, a player in the agricultural business in Delta State. He is Reverend Father Jude Onyebadi. Thank you for coming
Thank you very much.
on the program. I want to start with Dr. Ashidu. I'd like us to discuss the significance of this move, this initiative by the government, the federal government, to Delta State.
This is an epoch-making event for us in Delta State, and of course, Delta being part of the Nigerian economy, it is a significant day for Nigeria because most of the critical mass of entrepreneurs actually fall within the micro, small and medium enterprises, businesses. But their Achilles heel, their problem really, the main problem is getting soft loan for them to be able to do their business. But the Central Bank of Nigeria has now given out to states and has given to us 2 billion naira. And today we are drawing the first tranche. What this has done for us is it will strengthen our already empowerment program, which we have done in the Delta State Microcredit Program. It is also another vista for budding entrepreneurs to have a soft entry into entrepreneurship world.
Let me come to Reverend Father Onyebadi. I know that you've been in this business for a while.
Yes.
Farming has
Yes.
been the mainstay of many economy, and we're now moving towards that, leaving behind oil production. Now, I just want you to talk about the assistance of the Delta State government to your business. How would you describe that effort?
It's wonderful. When we started as if there will be help nowhere. But in 2009, when we had a visit from the Delta government to the farm, they came practically and saw what we are doing. They just told us that it will not remain at this level, that they are interested. And they have moved us beyond our expectation, actually, because we started with about 40,000 pineapple stands in 2009, and now we have about 1,200,000 pineapple stands in the farm. And furthermore, we have diversified to plantain, pawpaw, banana, and corn.
I'm going to stick with you for a minute. I'd like you to talk about the youth that you've employed. What number are they? What number of youths do you have?
Right now, we have about 150 youths working in the farm. The whole idea is meant actually for the youth, to take them away from wasting their energy in useless things, walking around the street doing nothing, begging. That was actually the initial thing that brought the farm together. So, and the benefits from it, and most of them, the farm, I would say, takes care of themselves and myself because they work hard. Disciplined from 7 to 1 every day, we are working in the farm. And we return by 3 to 5 in the evening.
Okay, do you also have youths in other parishes? Because I know you're a Reverend Father, you're overseeing a parish in that community, but do you just attend to those in your parish? Are they the only ones that come to work on the farm?
I'm very fortunate that my farm is at Iseluku. My parish is at Idumujuno, very close by. So the youth at Iseluku are well covered. Those at Idumujuno are the principal owners. So the two communities, their youth are very much engaged in the farm.
Okay, Dr. Shedu, how do you feel about the sum that's been given to Delta State, 2 billion naira? Out of the 220, you know, the total figure is 220 billion naira, but Delta State is given 2 billion naira.
Yes, even to get that 2 billion naira, it's not everyone that has been able to access it. So we are very proud of ourselves that we've met all the conditions that the Central Bank of Nigeria put for us to be able to get this loan. And in order to perfect it, we had to do quite a lot of things. But then it is a good injection into our pulse because it will help us stimulate the economies of our community. As you would have known, the Delta State Microcredit Program has empowered over 120 persons and over 10,000 cluster groups. In this number, we have about 68,000 women. And
I was going to ask you that.
Yes.
How does it feel as a woman? Because even the principles that
Yes.
that were given by the central bank, 60% of the total fund must go to women.
To that, I would say kudos to the central bank because they understood what every development expert understands globally. Women understand micro, small, and medium loans, and women are very credit-worthy. So I wasn't surprised when the Central Bank of Nigeria said 60% of this loan will go to women. Our experience in the program also have shown that women repay their money easily. And when you give them the money, they apply to what they want to do with it. They also help to sustain the home. And you know, when a woman also contributes to the home, it helps the home to meet up and any gaps that the man would have left, the woman fills it, fills the gap.
Okay, you talked about meeting criteria for accessing this fund. And for those people who are watching, some state governments who have not been able to access it, perhaps you can just let them know, learning from Delta State now, what are those things that you did that made it possible for you to access this fund?
There are so many criteria that were set out, but the principal one is actually having a state special purpose vehicle, which has to go through Parliament. It has to go through the State House of Assembly. And our governor was very intent on us getting on board that, including the State House of Assembly members. In no time, the bill was passed. And on the 20th of October, he signed it into law. And in signing it into law, we created a brand new SPV. And this brand new SPV is called the Delta State Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Agency. You know, that is very critical because that is the vehicle with which you have to drive this fund. And that is the vehicle, the brand new vehicle we are using now to drive this particular scheme. Having said that, it is also very important that you have a proper framework. We have a framework which is dear to us and which our governor also champions, and that is the microfinance banks. He believes, and we believe very strongly in the state, that of all financial institutions, the one that is closest to the grassroots is the microfinance banks. So they are our participating financial institutions. They are our framework. Above all, we also do a lot of sensitization because it is critical that this money gets to those who it is meant for. This money, this fund is not political patronage, neither is it a safety net. Therefore,
so the criteria for accessing it is
the criteria,
well laid out.
yes, because the CBN and all of us, we do a lot of due diligence. There must be proper screening that it is actually getting to those who should get it. And you have to perfect the groups, do the needs assessment, perfect the groups properly, and have your framework. Once you do that, the CBN will certainly put you online.
I'm sure everyone is listening to you, and I'm taking a cue from what you just said. Let me come to Father Onyebadi. I'd like us to talk about this business that you're into, the business of being a Reverend Father, because I know it takes a lot to do that. And the fact that you have to run another kind of business. How do you combine both?
Very wonderful. See, actually, as a Reverend Father, we are father of everyone. And when we see our young ones going astray, whether spiritual or materially, physically, is our concern. So if the farm is even, I call it a spiritual work too, trying to make the youth come to know that there is no food for a lazy man, not even in the church. Because instead of attending to them, they come, every father must give out something. They come, Father, give me. I say, no, don't give you. Come, let's go and bring it together. So we all go to the farm to go and bring together. And by the grace of God, I can comfortably say some of them are in the senior seminary now. One of my sons was newly ordained priest. Others, I call them my sons, my daughters, because of our special teamwork. Many of them are universities. During all day they come back. How would they go to school if they don't work at the money? And
that's quite interesting. Dr. Shedu, I looked at the scheme itself, the breakdown, and a lot of categories that we outlined there. I just want to find out, it seems as if no attention is given to oil at all. Are you saying that this business, this scheme rather, does not pay attention to those who still feel they can be in the oil business?
Oil as in crude oil?
Yes.
No, this is not the program for it. This is the program for Delta Beyond Oil. Okay. This is the program for people in palm oil. We have lots of them. And indeed, you will see some of our people in the course of the day who will tell you that our palm oil is even better than the one that we get from Indonesia or Malaysia, bleached and brought to us here as vegetable oil. So the program really is not different. What we've done over the years is not different from what the Asian Tigers did. They all started small. Every big business started small. This program, the way we are driving it, we know that eventually it will serve as one of the platforms, one of the catalysts for the eventual industrialization of Delta State. And I'm happy to tell you that if you go to ShopRite today, you will see our spices. If you go to many of the leading supermarkets, you will see our products. You will see our plantain flour.
Even the ones from Reverend Father
Not
Oyebadi's
not just our Reverend Father, also from the Patani axis. We have a lot of people in plantain. Really, we have a woman who does fantastic plantain flour. How about our shoemakers? They are also very good. Our shoemakers are quite great. Then, the aquaculture that we weave. Our aquaculture has attracted a lot of attention worldwide. In June this year, United Nations Industrial Development Organization facilitated a meeting for us with the Giorgio Armani Group. So in no time, very soon, you will see the Delta State ethnic cloth aquaculture on the runways of the world.
Okay, we'll wait to see that being used and being produced. So thank you so much. That'll be all we can take from you. Dr. Antonia Ashidu, the Honorable Commissioner in charge of poverty alleviation here in Delta State, and she's also the Executive Secretary of the Delta State Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency. And we also had with us Reverend Father Jude Oyebadi, is an agriculture farmer, for trying to share his thoughts with us about his experiences as a farmer and of course a beneficiary of the scheme here in Delta State. We'll go on a break now. I'll be right back.